Good morning. We are continuing on in Hebrews 11, and we're going to read several verses this morning and comment. Another manifestation of faith, but this time a little bit more about the sort of generalized people in Abraham's day, thinking about Abraham and those who were promised something to look forward to. And how did they handle that? With the eyes of faith and the hands of faith. Verse 13 through 16 of Hebrews 11. These all died in faith, not having received the things promised. So Sarah, Abraham, they died in faith, not having received the things promised, but having seen them and greeted them from afar, and having acknowledged that they were strangers and exiles on the earth. For people who speak thus make it clear that they are seeking a homeland. If they'd been thinking of that land from which they'd gone out, they would have had opportunity to return. But as it is, they desire a better country, that is a heavenly one. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he has prepared for them a city. This kind of builds on the statement a little earlier and from a couple of days ago that they're looking forward, verse 10, to the city that has foundations, whose designer and builder is God. But see, that looking forward allows them to release the expectations that they have of what can be afforded here on earth, and they're willing to live as exiles. Let me ask you a question. What is it that defines your present identity? What is it that defines your present identity? Let me give you just a few thoughts. You're likely too identified by the things of this life and the things of this world when those things begin to matter more to you than God matters to you. And when your priorities begin to follow in that kind of pattern, when you begin to treat people and relationships the way that the world treats people and relationships, the chances are that you're too identified by the zeitgeist that's around you. When you begin to identify and garner your own self-worth from what other people say rather than what God says about you, the chances are good, right, that you are too attached to the world, and so you're giving it too much credence, too much weight, too much ability, currency to identify you. So what I want you to think about is not just looking forward to that city, but I want you to think about looking forward to what God has in such a way that you detach from, right? When you cleave to something, the presupposition is that you're leaving something. So faith shows up, and I'm going to give you a word this morning. Faith shows up in repudiation. It's a demonstration you believe God when you can repudiate the world. When you're not identified by people, when you're not identified by stuff, when you're not identified by accomplishment, when you're not identified by, pick it, in this physical realm, when you can say, okay, that's not what's going to win the day for me. Instead, the eyes of faith will repudiate the world so that we can lay hold and resolve of what God has for us. Can you repudiate? Have you thought of repudiating anything? Have you thought of looking at something and saying, no, I will not be identified by that? Remember, if you're going to cleave to the Lord, you got to leave the stuff of earth. May the Lord bless you today.